Tell them what you think. Oh my God. David, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So this is our buddy here?
This is him.
All right.
Just as bad as.
Yeah, you know. Why don't you bring him out?
Okay.
Let's see what we get.
All right. Come on, man. Come on. All right.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
And that. And that. Can't
Love
walk
it.
him.
Yeah. Oh, bud. So what's going on with him? Just a wild child?
Yeah, and then I think definitely has some separation anxiety. So
Yeah.
so at night you try to put him into a bed, and then he doesn't want to go in bed, so he can get kind of aggressive, trying to get me in.
All right.
Jumps on my TV.
Yeah.
Yes.
What does he jump at things on the TV?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, animals.
Oh my
and
gosh.
People, mostly animals.
Yeah.
He was cute when he was a puppy because I'm like, oh, I've
Yeah.
never had a dog watch
Yeah,
TV
right?
this wild. But now.
Too funny. Yeah, we see plenty of that, believe it or
Okay.
not. So it's wild. The first time you see it, it's like, yeah, like you said, it's so cute initially. It's like, oh, he's just watching the TV, and look at him. It looks like he's making friends. And then all of a sudden they start going crazy at it.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, this isn't cute anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he was so good as a really young puppy. I mean, listened to all the commands to him, and he did bark outside.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just. He always had some leash issues with like pulling.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Does he get a little reactive too? Obviously, I saw him in the car.
Very reactive,
so.
yeah. Like with people outside. So when we take him out in the morning, if he just hears the birds, sometimes he starts barking. So he's off of. They had him on the paroxetine Paxil, and he's been off of it completely for about a week.
Okay.
When he
Does he notice anything different?
The separation anxiety a bit came out more.
Yeah.
But also more energy. Like I feel like he has more energy and he wants to play more.
Okay. So you're just seeing more of like the real him kind of coming out?
Yeah, we did. I mean, we had some of the aggression, I think.
And he gets that way towards cars, you said?
Yeah.
Obviously?
Yeah.
All right.
When getting off, like weaning him off it,
sure.
it definitely made him not happy, which I get. I mean, he was on a high dose of anti-anxiety meds.
Yeah.
Which even humans would be
Sure. Yeah.
upset about.
All right.
But, yeah.
Does he ever... Tell him what you think. Oh my God. You're loud, dude.
Yeah.
Does he socialize with dogs ever?
He did when he was like maybe 6 months. I took him to a doggy daycare, and then he just stopped. He wasn't doing well with other dogs.
What was he? Did they tell you he wasn't doing good with other dogs? And what did they say they were seeing?
Like if they would try to come, like certain dogs, he's very particular on the dog. Some dogs they come over, they let him play, fine. Other dogs they try to come over and play with him, and he like kind of snap at them.
Yeah, got it.
Didn't bite him, but
yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I mean I've had him since he's a baby. He's never been abused, so I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I mean,
the reactivity started. Like why?
Yeah, it could be anything. Okay. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times it's just like dogs that go without discipline for too long. Okay. They just get really overly impulsive, and then you tack onto that a dog that might be genetically a little bit anxious or fearful of things, and it just compounds into a big problem. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's nothing like, oh my God, you did this and this is why it happened. It's just kind of behavior that's gone unchecked for a little too long.
Okay.
So nothing that can't be easily fixed. So.
Hopefully.
He's having a harder time at the vet and the groomer.
Yeah, he has a really hard time. So I mean, to get to the vet, we had to use a gel like tranquilizer on his gums, and then they also had to shoot up like actual tranquilizer, additional stuff there.
Yeah, sure.
So I mean, that one's probably gonna be harder, but
Yeah. Cool. Let's go ahead and we'll take them inside here, and go over any last questions you guys have, all that good stuff.
Just want to tell you how bad it is in terms of reactivity and stuff, because I get worried with him, like leaving him with people.
Yeah, of course.
Nieces and nephews.
Let's go ahead and step over this way for a second. Yeah, no, that's completely normal, you know. The positive I tell people is like when I see a dog like him already, like I'm not seeing anything that we haven't seen a ton of times before.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And like even all of this, like as big of a problem as it is, and how much of a nuisance it can be and all of that, it's much easier to work through than you think, you know? And a lot of times, when you get some of this stuff under control, all the rest of it starts to get easier. You know what I mean? As far as the handling and like all of that, because they're not on like a level 12 like baseline. You know what I mean? That's his problem. Is right now he truly is just on like level 12 all the time,
Yeah,
right?
and it's like, you know, I said I think in the call, like,
Yeah.
putting more medication. I'm at the top doses of all these medications,
Yeah.
and they're not doing anything.
Well, that's just it. You know what I
like,
mean?
it's just-
So they're putting a Band-Aid on it, right? It's like, let's numb him up so much until he just physically can't do this stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not solving anything because we still have no control over him.
Exactly.
I feel very confident that, you know, we'll be able to get him under control for you here. And I always prep everybody. It'll be a little bit of work once he goes home. There's a transition process, you know what I mean? Like it's, I always say anything he used to try to do before coming here, once he goes home, he's got associations with home and you guys, he's gonna wanna try to do those things again. The difference is you guys will have the skills and the knowledge to know how to address those things as they come up. And then you guys get a ton of follow-up support on the back end. So we do like weekly classes with you until things are in a good spot and all of that. And we'll make sure that you're getting as educated as you need to handle a dog like him as best as you can. Today seems like a pretty appropriate man, buddy.
You're scaring the puppy.
But that's I would say that's a pretty appropriate amount of food for a dog like him. So a lot of times, honestly, all the anxiety medication you put on him can suppress the appetite a little bit. So that may be why, if you've noticed him being a little finicky with the food. So we may see over the next week that changes a little bit and he starts getting a little bit more of an appetite again. So.
Of course, take care.
All right. What's up, guys? David with Miracle Canine. We're out here with O'Finnegan. He just got dropped off like 1 minute ago. And as you guys saw in all of that before footage, came in like an absolute psychopath. So freaking out at cars, people, dogs, everything. He's got some bites on his record. He's been a big nuisance up until this point, we'll say. And as the owners mentioned at drop-off, this is his last straw. So if they can't start to get this behavior under control, they're gonna have to make the tough decision to either have him put down or have him rehomed. So we gotta get this under control. I say this all the time with dogs like this that come in, like there's no sense in like dilly-dallying with these issues, right? A lot of people, they'll get a dog like this in and they start with just like the slow, methodical, let's let him decompress, let's just like not go too crazy with the training tools initially, this and that. I couldn't follow a more opposite approach than that. When I get dogs like this in that are so out of control, as you guys saw right there, my number one priority is we've gotta just get things in check, right? So usually what that looks like is we make sure their leash manners are really good right off the rip. And when I say really good, I mean like near perfect. We're gonna hold him to a very, very high standard. We're gonna demand some respect out of him as we do that, obviously. And then on top of that, we like to make sure that we can get the dog then integrated with some other dogs. We like to make sure that we can get the dog just kind of used to understanding that like you can open up and let some of this energy out in controlled places, but there's still gonna be some rules to it. So we're gonna start right off the rip here with some walking. And even more so than that, we got a car coming by here. We're gonna use this as our very first opportunity here to make sure he starts to realize there are certain things that he can and can't do. So I'm just gonna hang out here. We'll let this car go by. This is a car that you guys saw just a few minutes ago that he was reacting at, and we'll see what we get. Key here, he's loading. We're not correcting for that. Wait for him to make a decision, see what he's gonna do, give a correction once he commits to making a decision, right? We don't preemptively correct this stuff. I wanna teach the dog right off the rip to start making better decisions. Look at that, we fixed him already. Now, okay, why was that so much better than he was a minute ago? Couple things. One, we just made a video on this, right? Of starting to talk about things that will dramatically improve your leash walking right away. So proper training equipment, we got him on a prong collar. Two, posted up, right? So I'm standing in one spot. I'm not letting him drift off and do whatever the hell he wants to do. And 3, I'm not holding constant tension on the leash, right? So by staying loose on the leash here and allowing him to feel a little less restrained and a little bit less trapped, we already, 1 minute into this, see a reduction in the reactivity. So let's do this. We're gonna go ahead and start walking now. I'm gonna add some 180 drills in with a leash pop, and we're gonna start getting him healing a little bit more nicely with us, and then we'll go from there. No, come. We got a UPS truck right here that he just reacted at a minute ago. Same deal, staying loose on the leash. Very good. No, come. So already we're seeing an absolutely, completely different dog, a total shift mentally of him basically being able to control and react at everything that he ever wanted to right off the rip, establishing enough control where I could get him loose on the leash. I could get him finally starting to just like comply to something for his first time ever. And I could make sure that we could start off on the best foot possible with him realizing that this whole experience here is going to be different than anything that he's used to experiencing up until this point. And this is just such a massive momentum shift in the right direction, where literally in 10 minutes after being dropped off, we have the dog performing things that they have never in their life performed, and finally, for the first time ever, showing some respect to the person at the end of the leash. Now again, as you're going to see when we get back to the shop, we are going to offset this with giving the dog the ability to open up and interact and be free, but we have to make sure that we've established some respect before we put the dog in that position, because if not, we're going in, fingers crossed, I hope this goes well, exert your energy, but I have no ability to control you whatsoever, which is a very dangerous position to be in with dogs. You see here, obviously, a little bit queued up on some squirrels. Let him go to the bathroom real quick. All right, so next step here, we are going to give him the opportunity to loosen up, socialize with some other dogs. This is something I get out of the way immediately with dogs too. I want to assess their social skills. He has gone to daycare before. He didn't really go very much because he was having some issues with getting a little snappy towards the other dogs, but it was nothing concerning, so I'm not worried about a muzzle or anything. 99% of the time when we have clients tell us their dog got kicked out of another daycare, I ask first and foremost who the daycare was. If it's a big box daycare with tons of dogs and they say the dog is getting a little snappy, unless there was an actual altercation, I'm generally not going to be super worried about it. Most people just don't know how to read dog behavior that they're seeing, and obviously that could pose big problems. So I've got Riggs out here. Riggs, ironically, is another dog that's been here for about 2 weeks. almost identical issues to him. Very impulsive, very reactive towards things, and doped out of his mind on anxiety medication. And Riggs has been crushing it. Riggs has turned out to be a social butterfly. He's another dog they told us basically the same thing socially. Couldn't socialize with other dogs, got kicked out of daycare, snappy towards other dogs, and he's kind of a playful little spirit. So we're going to get them together. We're going to kind of see what we get and go from there. Riggs, come on, bud. So a lot of times what I do initially, allow interactions to take place through the fence, kind of see what it is that we're going to get, obviously. Riggs. Got them green collar boys. Riggs. Riggs. Come on. So you see again the snappiness, right? Just a little bit defensive of dogs coming quickly into his space. Generally speaking, we'll see what it turns into, but generally speaking, it doesn't turn into a whole lot past this. And this is something you usually have to allow dogs to kind of get out of their system to some extent. There's not really a solution as far as, oh my gosh, we need to correct this behavior or anything, because he's not trying to kill the other dogs. He's just setting boundaries, and he's setting boundaries because he's nervous. And a lot of this has been pre-programmed in from the year or so of leash reactivity he's been exhibiting. We always talk about leash reactivity and aggression. They're two separate things. It's not that dogs that display leash reactivity are aggressive towards other dogs, but constantly rehearsing this overly adrenalized behavior towards a trigger will bleed into socialization to some extent, right? So that's kind of a little bit what we're seeing here right now. Everybody's pooping. And you see little by little, as we allow them to express themselves, we see them come out of their shell. And the first 10 seconds dictates everything. It sets the tone of the social. And what I mean by that is it sets the tone of the social for the humans more than anything. So you see, as soon as I opened that gate up, what did we see? We saw him do a big old snap, right? Big old snap at Riggs, try to get him to go away. Really uncomfortable. First time in a very, very long time he's ever been off leash with another dog. And 99% of the time when owners see that, they get nervous, they intervene, they make the problem worse. It sets the tone, never allows the dog to overcome the issue. Or because we've seen this so many times and we've seen dogs rehearse these behaviors so many times, we know there's generally nothing to be concerned about there. We could just let them do it and get it out of their system, and then we could get past it so we see where we're at right now, which is that starts actually shifting into play with the dogs. You know, something else people get freaked out about all the time, every time we post socialization clips, because everybody's a socialization expert, is any sign of stress out of the other dog, they just go bananas crazy, right? So like obviously Riggs got snapped at a couple times, right? And they would be like, oh my gosh, right? So he got snapped at again there, right? They'd be like, oh my gosh, how could you ever put that dog in that situation to experience that stress? It is unfair to this dog. That dog needs to be corrected for it because he's going to create reactivity issues with this dog. And they just get so out of their mind about stuff like that. Where I explain to people all the time, it is equally important for dogs to learn how to engage playfully with dogs that want to interact with them. It is equally important for them to understand how to create space in the sense of, or create space in the presence of quote unquote danger around other dogs. So when other dogs don't want anything to do with them, they could learn to respond appropriately to those reactions and give space and approach a little bit more gingerly and become more balanced out, instead of constantly having them just go up against dogs that are balls to the walls crazy and they could go with this level 10 intensity at them all the time. It is equally important for them to experience these types of things. And then people fail to realize 2 seconds later, he's literally fine. He's literally fine. It's okay. This is a conversation they're having right now, right? This is a conversation of what is this dog like? What is this dog not like? And how do we interact and have a meaningful relationship with each other as we do so? And you've got to just take a back seat while it happens, no matter how bad you feel for some dogs because it seems like they're stressed or nervous or whatever it may be. You've just got to let it happen. So important. And then obviously the noises. Everybody gets freaked out from the noises too, right? Got to look at the complete picture of what's happening. Wow, Finnegan. You're really turning into a great YouTube video for us. I like Riggs a lot. And to believe, I don't know if you're filming this or not, but to believe that all these vet behaviorists took a dog like this and said he needs to be doped out of his mind on anxiety medication and he can't socialize with other dogs and there's no way you're ever going to be able to do his nails because he's so horrible with them and gets so overly stressed out. And you see after a week and a half the freaking transformation that we see with this dog, becoming a truly confident dog now that he's not clouded from all of this medication and he's had proper training and discipline.